Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now to a session involving 4 players who've amassed more than 60 years of Crucible experience between them, and they know each other's games inside out. Those two have been going toe-to-toe since they were 12. And on this side of the divide, it's a professional rivalry that dates back 15 years. Time to find out which 2 players will take a step closer to the quarterfinals here on day 7 at the one and only Kazoo World Snooker Championship. Please welcome a player who produced a superb win in his 20th year at the Crucible. From 7-6 down, he won 4 in a row against an in-form Eckardt to secure his 13th appearance in the second round. Twice he's made the semis, 6 times a ranking event winner. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Stephen the Maverick Maguire. And his opponents back in the second round for a 14th time after a comprehensive victory over Liu Hao-Chan. 7 half centuries and an excellent break of 111. 3 times a runner-up. Champion here, of course, back in 05 and winner of 12 ranking titles in all. A class act on and off the bays. Shaun the Magician Murphy! And now to a player re-emerging for his first appearance in the last 16 at the Crucible after 20 years as a pro. Now firmly established in the world's top 16, this is the climax of a superb season and he'll be determined to close the gap. Some say there's a passing resemblance between us. So would you please give it up for the exceptionally handsome Tom Ford? And finally, to a player making the most of his 12th second-round appearance, 13 years after his first. An emphatic second half of the opening session sees him racing ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the most decorated left-handed player in history. The one and only ace in the pack, Judd Trump.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Steve. First frame, Steve Maguire to break.
Welcome back to an expectant Crucible Theatre here in Sheffield. Another big afternoon of snooker. The start of this intriguing and I'm sure high-quality second-round match between Shaun Murphy and Steve Maguire. These two have been playing each other since they were juniors. In professional competition, Murphy just holds the edge 12-11. But the most recent meeting was here in the first round 2 years ago. It was Maguire that won that one 10-8. Of course, he's had to come through the qualifiers. He's down at 28 in the world, but we know what a fierce competitor he is. He had 2 centuries and 5 half centuries in seeing off Eckardt 10-7 in round 1. And Shaun Murphy here played nicely also, a century and 7 half centuries against Liu Hao-Chan 10-5. This is a bit of a blockbuster clash. There's a bit of history between them, but first and foremost, they're both superb attacking snooker players. I'm sure it's going to be entertaining, and I'm sure that Dominic Dale, who of course has played on this very table in the World Championship, is looking forward to it.
Check the volume of the pieces, please. They're quite loud.
Yes, very good afternoon, everybody. I didn't play on this table for too long, did I? But I thoroughly enjoyed my experiences. Steve Maguire in shot here. I really do think he's coming back to some of his best form at the moment. Very impressive in the qualifiers, defeating Ashley Hugel and Wan Zijun 10-6. Was a good performance, but he must have derived a great deal of confidence having beaten Eckardt in round 1. Great performance, as Dave has alluded to.
1.
And there you go. Now, an interesting thing at the World Open in Yushan, Steve Maguire had some white electrician's tape around the ferrule of his cue for some reason. He said that the lights under the tables are causing a glare, so he put some tape over it, but he certainly removed it. You can see there's no white tape adhered to the ferrule of his cue now, but he seems to have found a cue. He's been chopping and changing cues for quite a few seasons, Steve Maguire. But I'm glad to see that he's settled at last and he's playing some great snooker again. And I do make him just a fractional favourite to win this one, but we'll see.
Well, of course, it's 3 sessions, first to 13. He's one of those players, I think, Maguire, it doesn't really matter where he's in the rankings. He's a big-time player. This will inspire him. He's on record. He doesn't like going to the qualifiers. He gets a bit down about all of that. But here at the Crucible, of course, he didn't qualify last year, but 2 years ago he was in the quarterfinals. He's been twice a semi-finalist. And he actually said about the rivalry with Murphy, he said, we go back so far, I've known Shaun longer than I've known my own wife. They've been playing since they were 12 years old. I'm sure that they'll both give it absolutely everything and treat this crowd and everyone else to a great game.
Seven.
Two players who sort of make their presence known around the table. Both have great authority. Both like to get stuck in and make things happen, get on the attack. They're the numbers for Maguire here. 20 appearances, just missed out last year after his debut in 04. I mean, there was a time 20 years ago when he broke through, won the UK Championship, where I think a lot of people expected him to become world champion, but it's not that simple, obviously. He's yet actually to appear in a final.
Steve
20.
Maguire, I always think technically and mentally has everything he needs to perform well here at the Crucible Theatre. Has a wonderful technique, very flat cueist, very rhythmical. It's not dissimilar really to Dave Gilbert, who of course was in action this morning. Very fluent player. Of course Shaun Murphy is too, but Shaun, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies within his cue action that Steve Maguire doesn't have. Stephen's far more orthodox. But he's left himself a rather testing blue here, the pink not available into the left corner. Ideally, for positional reasons, the blue would be better played into the yellow pocket, but it's a tougher pot.
Steve Maguire, 21.
Yep, and he's missed it to offer the chance to Shaun Murphy, who's making a 22nd appearance here. Murphy would expect to be pushed more than he was in round one. I think what happened there against Luhanshin, I mean, he's a dangerous player, but they played a lot of the last session with the wall up. The match on the other side had finished, and that obviously favours Murphy. You know, he's been in, obviously, finals here. He seemed to make some sort of difference, even though he was playing the better snooker anyway.
1.
They both remember their chalk anyway. That's the good news.
Fine.
At first glance, Shaun has been rather unfortunate there. He may have a possible red to the left centre, but I was hoping for something a lot easier. It's a very unusual circumstance here because you have 4 sets of 2 reds between the pink and the black spots. I don't think I've seen that before.
6.
To that one beautifully, very confidently. But he's got too much action on the cue ball there, too much stun. That's brought the cue ball towards the red. And now this is a fiddly little shot that he's left himself. These are difficult to time because you can't stroke the ball, you have to almost jab it. Easy to undercut these. Well done.
14.
Yeah, of course, he'd lost round 1 last 2 years. 2 years ago it was to Maguire, so looking to get on a run again here at the Crucible. He's been in 4 finals. It's worth remembering that. We talk about him winning it, of course, 2005, but 3 other finals. Well, that'll do nicely.
16. $17.
You made a century on this table, Dominic. I mean, I know it's been recovered since then, but how did you find it? There's been a bit of talk about not as many centuries. As in fact, the centuries count in round 1, the lowest for 9 years. A few people feel the middle pockets maybe are a bit tight, but how did you find conditions as Murphy misses that one?
Well, yes, indeed, and what a miss, because there are good times and bad times to miss an easy ball. That was as bad a time as you could imagine, because the reds are in open play. I found that the corner pockets along the cushion rails were tighter than they have been throughout the course of the season as a whole. The middle pockets are always tight. Generally speaking, the middle pockets on these tables play more difficultly than the corner pockets always do, but it's nice to see these corner pockets playing slightly more difficult. That's in.
1.
Yeah, because whenever there are a lot of century breaks being made, the talk is in the players' lounge. It's not surprising, the pockets are huge and this, that and the other. But as a commentator, you don't really want to be saying that because it sounds a little disparaging, but it is the simple truth, and these pockets are playing slightly on the strict side. Certainly the corner pockets are, and that's definitely, for me, the main reason why you're seeing fewer century breaks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll change, but Judd Trump's on the other table. So far, he's won 16 frames in the tournament, not made a century. Now, this is someone who's made 76 this season. Yeah. Oh, well, again, they're not big enough in this match, it would seem.
Maguire,
that
8.
was onto the jaw, but not into the pocket.
Well, you know, this was almost on cue. I can assure you that would have dropped on many occasions throughout the course of the season. But as you can see, it's not really even on the pocket fall there. It's a good centimetre behind it. So, yeah, early nerves, perhaps. Early loss of concentration, more than likely, because it does take a while to get yourself in that zone of concentration, particularly as you get older. That's always a problem.
Yeah, and, you know, there's no point playing it down. This is a long-standing rivalry between these two. It's not a bitter one. It was at one point, I think, but they're both in their 40s now, but they still want to beat each other. Make no mistake, that's been the same ever since they first started playing. So both looking to just land the first blow.
7.
I'm not sure Shaun actually played for that red over the corner pocket. I think he just got too much bite on the cue ball playing the previous pink and wanted to be on a red to the left corner. And the reason I say that, with that red that was hanging over the pocket, Shaun will need
15.
all 4 of these remaining reds to win this frame at this visit, so it would have been a good idea to have left himself on the red tight on that right-hand side cushion just to roll it towards the red over the pocket. Because he's going to need that awkward red.
$23. 24. $31.
Well, he's not ideally on this red now. Steve Maguire, you can see in the background, having a look at one of the monitors to assess the angle for himself. And just done up for a bulk colour, so possibly a problem for Shaun. Dead straight on the yellow's okay. Can he screw in behind this red?
Just needs the red, so give the pot everything.
35.
Yeah, it dropped. That's the main thing. It wasn't the cleanest pot, but it dropped, and he'll want obviously the 7 points as well. And it looks like Murphy will win the first frame. They both had good chances. 8 frames, and of course they're back tomorrow for more.
42.
Yeah, it's one of the, I think, most eagerly awaited of the second round matches. Yes, because of their history, but also they're both terrific players.
44.
So it's surely going to be an entertaining contest. Shaun Murphy's had a quiet season. He did win the Championship League in the summer. And then we have not seen much of him. But who won the Championship League last season at the start of the campaign? A certain Marcel, who came good when it mattered right at the end as well.
$56.
So, a couple of unexpected misses along the way, but in the end it is Shaun Murphy who puts together 56 to lead Steve Maguire 1-0. Yeah, the head-to-head is 12-11 to Murphy, so nothing in it really. But interestingly, he's not actually beaten Maguire for 7 years. The China Championship 2017 was his last win. Maguire's won the last 3. They don't play each other every week, obviously. In fact, the last meeting was here 2 years ago. But some big matches there, a semi-final of the UK that Murphy's won, a final of the China Open that Steve Maguire has won. As Marcel Eckardt sets them up for frame 2. Don't think we're going to see much chatting between the two of them. You don't see much of that anyway, but I think it's unlikely in this scenario.
Yeah, they're very different people on and off the table, really. I mean, you'll never see a show of volatility from Shaun Murphy if things are going wrong or he gets frustrated with himself. He channels that anger very well, very differently to Steve Maguire, who, not dissimilarly to Robert Milkins, will bang a cue on the table or the floor, and you can see the aggression coming out of him. Can get frustrated with himself at times, there's no doubt about that, but he's a wonderful, wonderful player. And he really does give everything to every match that he plays, as you should do, of course.
If I could try to settle down, please. His second frame. Shaun Murphy to break.
So, bird's eye view of table 1 here at the Crucible this Friday afternoon. Can't believe it's day 7 already. Shaun Murphy breaking off, leading Steve Maguire 1-0. That red has travelled, but it looks like it's covered. Or is it?
Tap on the table from Steve Maguire. It's a very good break-off from Shaun. Stephen can't get between the blue and the pink to clip the left-hand side of the pack of reds to turn the cue ball back to bulk. The green is hiding the right-hand side of the table, and the brown, the red near the left centre, so he has a problem, no doubt about it. If he can leave the cue ball just below the pink in the left-hand side of the pack of reds, he'd be okay. But what's he got in store here for us? Well, he could... That's amazing. He could get through to that red nearly full ball, and we thought he was snookered on it. But he won't be happy with the result. He's given Shaun a great chance here at the beginning of this second frame.
Again, you've got to be so accurate. He walks away. A little bit bemused there, I think.
One.
Well, a bit pacey. I mean, he had a lot of room there, didn't he, to get on a colour.
Well, both players looking a little perplexed as to the results of their previous two shots. Well, that red did seem to just dive into the cushion there, didn't it? And of course, Stephen was rather surprised at the speed of the bounce on the side cushion, which left the cue ball in bulk instead of behind the bulk colours.
Foul and a miss, Stephen Maguire. 4.
Oh, you can look at the position of Shaun there, both hands on two cushion rails. He can't believe the bounce that he received there from the side cushion. Completely threw the cue ball off at a different angle to the one he envisaged.
That's a wonder pot. It really is. Kind of shot he was known for when he won the tournament a couple of decades ago. These just long balls flying in. Wasting no time getting them open as well. Just tied the black up.
Yes, in the end, he was very fortunate to be on a red because he catches the edge of the pink. Cue ball's coming across there. He's on nothing until that red just came across below the cue ball. That's the red he's on. He's on nothing else. But from a positional point of view, yes, this isn't ideal. The pink's going to be very awkward to get onto. The black tied up, as Dave has suggested. There is a gap he can stun the cue ball through to try and send it around the angles for potentially the blue, but doesn't have a lot of angle to work with. It's gone wrong. I'm not really surprised. It was tough.
What we've seen so far from both, they're really trying to impose themselves on the match. You know, they're playing the aggressive stuff, but when things go wrong, they go wrong. You have to go back to defence. But I think this is what we'll see the whole match.
Green ball. Shaun Murphy. 7.
Well, I wonder if the red that's above the black would cut in. Stephen would have to be very close to the pot, because if he were not to be that close to the pot, if he were to overcut it badly, it could easily collide with something on the cue ball's return to bulk.
We could easily have left that on. Steve Maguire, of course, has got a very good practice setup with John Higgins and Anthony McGill. They hire a unit in Glasgow, and it's all business. It's not like a sort of snooker club with the bar and all that stuff going on. It's just pure work. And, you know, they do put the work in, those three. Of course, Higgins won last night, although McGill didn't qualify this year.
Reds are nicely spread. Pink and blue, clearly potable. The black's out of commission, but I don't think that would worry either man with the pink in open play. In fact, if the pink were to be potted, it would go on the black spot because its own spot is occupied. So this is an important tactical exchange between these two players. You always have to be very, very good with your safety shots because Shaun Murphy likes to take anything on almost. If that cue ball would have been 6 or 7 inches off the bulk cushion, he'd be looking to try and pot something. Well, I wonder if the red that Shaun made contact with there is potable into the right centre. Difficult to ascertain whether it is or it isn't from that angle, but it may be.
1.
Good to see him playing good stuff again. As I say, he hasn't taken to life sort of in qualifiers and that rather soulless environment where you play a match to get to the main venue. He's been losing a few of those. In fact, he didn't even enter the Scottish Open. I think he felt a bit aggrieved he would have to go to Leicester to qualify for his home event, so just gave it a miss. But here he is. He's battled through from the English Institute of Sport just up the road here in Sheffield. And this is where we know he can flourish. He's been in 2 semi-finals at the Crucible, quarter-finalist as recently as 2 years ago. And it's a great win over Carter, who's had such a terrific season. It was a very passionate match. Both players really like to show their emotions, and Maguire, bottom line, played good stuff. So I'm sure he's confident coming into this match, but he knows he's got to play similarly good stuff, of course, against Murphy. And also, if things go wrong, and that was a bit of a bounce that he wasn't expecting maybe, if things go wrong, he's got to keep a lid on it, hasn't he? That's something that, like you say, you know Murphy's going to do.
Well, as long as the pink pops into the right corner past the black and the red, he's still okay here. It definitely does pop, but there's not a lot of room there. You certainly want to be fairly straight on the pink to make it a pot that you feel comfortable with. Pink spot occupied, and Stephen will want to make sure that it remains occupied. He wants to remove some of these potable reds, but leave that one that's occupying the pink spot because it's useful to him there on the black spot. Didn't have the best angle on the pink there, but he did have, in terms of removing the black and the red. And he's okay. I don't expect this to cause a problem.
$25.
Again, he didn't have a good angle on the pink, and this time it has gone wrong. No potable red available, so just a good safety.
Stephen Maguire, 31.
That's not the best safety because Shaun is such an attacking player. I'm certain he'll take one of these 2 possible reds onto the left corner.
It's going to be there. 1. Six. Steve Maguire, 6.
Just needed that one more good pot, and he would have been a big favourite to go on and win this second frame. As it is, Shaun can snick a red in here to that right corner, the one that's just above the pink.
One.
Yeah, I mean, he's dangerous from distance. His long pot success in round 1 was about 68%, so that's more than 2 out of 3. And he goes for plenty. You won't always make a winning break off it, but you can take a little bit of control, try and force an error from your opponent.
Green ball.
I'm just trying to bring the green into play, trailing by 34.
Yes, I don't think he minded too much leaving Stephen Maguire potentially a pot to this left corner from under the side cushion, as long as he brought the green into play, because it will put pressure on Steve Maguire's safety shots, and that they're all there for him. So Stephen certainly won't want to move that red away from the black and bring those into play. Not unless he absolutely has to. Went all out for that, but just lost a touch of composure as he struck the cue ball there. Wasn't entirely confident. That's why he missed it by so far. It could have finished worse, it has to be said. But I have to say I fancy Shaun to cut this red into the right-hand centre pocket. But at least he didn't develop that black and the red. Oh, incredibly, Shaun not taking the pot on. Just trying to set himself up for a chance later on, perhaps. He'll take that. Very hampered keying over the yellow will probably prohibit Shaun from taking the pot on, but he could run this cue ball in behind the blue here. And I think he has. Stephen's in a bit of trouble. Well, I think Stephen was trying to play the glancing escape off the red above the one he actually made contact with, but it could have finished worse. But Shaun does have a red to the right corner. Pink won't pot into the same pocket, though, so you have to manoeuvre the cue ball a little here.
One. Six. Seven.
Potted the black on the thin side. That's why the cue ball's travelled much too far for Shaun's liking. Certainly doesn't have an easy next pot on a red.
Shaun Murphy. 14.
Well, at least he's covered it. But it's been the story of the match, really, hasn't it? It's been quite a few chances he's got to be set on both sides.
Well, there you go. That red that's near the centre pocket there. It would cut in had the green not been there. It just depends whether Steve Maguire thinks he can cut it in.
Well, referee saying to him, I'm going to have to stand here because obviously it's close to hitting the green. So Marcel Eckardt
No.
has positioned himself there.
Well, if you catch the green first, you're going to know it, because I don't think the green will move if he cuts the red in.
Well, it's been a scrappy frame, really, and now Murphy gets another chance. 20 behind. This was the red, of course, he went for and covered with the pink. Would have been a much easier pot for Maguire had he been on it.
Eight.
Shaun, a very good rest player. He decides to run the cue ball through for the pink here from this red. He's missed the red. There you go, you see, that mistake that Steve Maguire made, he'd be very pleased he did make it because he's back to the table now. 12 points ahead still. But he will need both of these awkward reds.
One. Thanks. Seven. 8.
The check of the scores tells him he needs pink and yellow. It's been a frame full of openings that have mainly not come to much, but this looks likely to be the winning one as long as he gets on this yellow. And ultimately, you'd just be happy to be on the scoreboard. Murphy had a few chances himself there.
$19. $23.
So in the end, it was a 28-minute frame, and as I say, it could have gone either way. They both had a lot of chances. I'm sure this match will settle down at the moment. They're both just trying to get involved. Maguire is involved because he's won the frame. He was still annoyed to miss that. A few mistakes, but all adds to the intrigue. Shaun Murphy and Steve Maguire all square at 1 each.
Try to keep the noise down, please.
It's a feature of this tournament. You don't see it anywhere else. Of course, the players have to sit by each other in the two-table phase. Of course, in COVID times, they had that little plastic glass, didn't they? But that's gone now. So just all sorting the water out and sort of not speaking, basically, which is not unusual. It's not just these two. We've seen the odd chat here and there this year, but it tends to be that players keep their own counsel.
Yes, that's where this game has changed so much in the last 2 or 3 decades or so. Back in the day, the 80s, the players would have a chat with each other quite commonly, really, but I think it all changed when Steve Davis came along and then Stephen Hendry after him. Sometimes Stephen Hendry may be playing somebody like a Tony Drago who always liked to chat with you, and Stephen would hate that. But I think it was a clever ploy sometimes of Tony just to try and distract Stephen and try and take him out of that cocoon of concentration.
Big first frame. Steve Maguire to make.
So it's 1-1. That second frame took a bit of winning, but Maguire duly did take it. Eight frames in this session. They'll be back tomorrow morning for session 2, and we often see that one can be the key one in these long matches. We saw it this morning on this table, didn't we, with Dave Gilbert winning 7 of the 8 against Milkins to be 12-4 up. It's a chance, if you've already got a lead, to pull away and all but win the match. Well, there's the pot success so far. I think it'll go up. I'm sure it will, actually. But at the moment in the low 80s. The tournament, you can see, factoring in round 1, they're both pretty solid.
Well, that red finishing near the right corner is now a bonus for Steve Maguire because it's hidden by the green. And it means that Shaun Murphy's next safety shot is going to have to be a very good one to not leave that red eminently potable, really. Shaun doesn't have to play a safety shot into bulk here if he doesn't wish to. That's tied the black up. Something that neither player would wish for.
Thank you. Very well. Drop down to left.
Can Shaun Murphy see enough of the red to the left of the one over the pocket to cut it in? I think he can. Yes, good shot. That's a pretty good cannon to the blue. In fact, he may even play the blue here. He could play the cue ball around the angles to the red that's near this right corner.
Referee just asking for sweet wrappers to be not rustled during play.
Blue ball. Six.
Well, if the pink spot's occupied, it could be worth playing for the pink in the left centre here because you'd have nothing to do positionally from it.
7.
But got too much backspin on the cue ball. Wanted to be much straighter than this. It's going to have to cannon other balls now and no guarantee of position.
$13.
He really just hit the ball with such authority, Murphy, doesn't he? In fact, he does everything with authority. Even just entering the arena, he always acknowledges the crowd. You can tell he's grown up actually watching Steve Davis and those guys, the old school professionals who led the way. That's how he likes to behave.
17.
And you need all sorts in snooker. You do need the rebels as well, of course, because they create excitement, but you need the good professionals also.
18. $23.
Wow. It looked as though Shaun had caught that pack of reds beautifully, but in an ideal world, you don't want that cue ball to end up near this top cushion, and I don't think Shaun can see enough of that red. You could pot it with a gentle swerve, but where does the cue ball finish? Nowhere, probably. So because of that, it may not be worth taking it on. The problem is, though, with that red to the right of the blue, you'd have to try and get that cue ball in somewhere behind the green and the brown to not leave that potable.
24.
Yes, he did decide in the end to just swerve around that red to pot the one near the pocket, but as I said, he couldn't do anything with the cue board, but it was just mainly used as a vehicle to be able to play a good safety shot from in the end.
Brown ball. Shaun Murphy, 24.
Yeah, it was a well-played split. He didn't land on anything nice in terms of getting on the next colour. So it's been the story of the day, hasn't it, really? It's been a little bit stop-start. Quite a few openings that have not really come to much. Murphy did eventually make 56 in frame one, but it came after a couple of misses from, well, first himself and then Maguire. We talk about the class of 92, of course, but these two players are the sort of the class of the back end of the 90s. Mark Selby, Neil Robertson, two other players who turned professional at the same time. Likes of Ryan Day, Ali Carter as well. Super pot.
One.
Well, the last kiss worked out quite well. He's on the yellow.
Yes, if ever a pot deserved a good kiss, it was probably that one, because there was a lot of risk attached to that. Shaun probably quite impressed, because I think he deliberately left that pot on for Steve Maguire, because there'd be a lot of pressure on it, the cue ball going into the balls. So this is a good chance for Steve Maguire. He'd probably like to play for one of the reds closest to the pink spot, so he could bring the pink into play.
4. Nine.
Well, the fact that he was looking at that red to the centre pocket tells me that maybe the pink would go on the black spot and it would be available. Difficult to know.
Ten. $15. $16.
Oh, he won't be happy with that, Steve Maguire. Dead straight on the pink with the rest. It wouldn't be difficult. This is slightly missable now, stretching across the table as he is.
$22. $23. $29. 30. $36. $37. $43.
Stephen has a good angle to work with on this red, but he'll need an equally good angle on a colour to bring those two awkward reds into play that seem to be stuck together and won't go anywhere. 19 points the lead, so he'll need one or both of them.
$44.
Wanted to be the other side of this pink, but he does have an angle to force it in, come off the side cushion and towards those two reds. If he could just glance them half ball, that would be ideal. It could be that one of them will pot into the green pocket, but he'd have to be on it nicely. Stephen feels the left red of the two will cut into the left centre pocket, but from there it's a very missable cutback. 26 points the lead. He certainly doesn't want to bring that black into play, so he's decided on the safety, and I don't blame him.
Stephen Maguire, 50.
Well, it's been the story of the match, really. Frame's not been necessarily killed off clinically.
Shaun would like to play the red that's near the black, but there are two things that could happen. He could easily get a double kiss. If he does play it with a lot of left-hand side to avoid that double kiss, the cue ball could go towards that centre pocket. But he may have to play that shot and take that risk. Just tried to thin edge the red, take the cue ball back to bulk. It's a shot that the Chinese players play really well.
One.
Good pot though from Stephen Maguire. Probably not the best contact, but it went in. So just this blue and the remaining red required to win his second frame in a row and take the lead for the first time in the match.
Six.
Yes, without necessarily hitting top form yet. His highest break was the 50 he made in this frame.
7.
Neither player's quite sort of got going yet, but there's plenty of time for that.
15.
We're in the second round here, last 16, and these matches already longer than any other they'll play all season outside of this event.
18.
What makes it such a big challenge, a big test.
Twenty-seven. 33.
Yeah, Murphy tried that safety. He took a long time thinking about it. Didn't play it well. Maguire has pounced and he leads 2-1. They look up there. He's looking at the monitor on the other side, which is showing the interval score. They've gone to the interval, so there's a little bit of noise in the arena. Yeah, I know Steve Maguire's frustrated to miss out last year. He'd been ever present here since 2004, so it was difficult to miss out, but he's back this year. He had 2 good wins actually in qualifying. Ashley Hugel, who's played here before, 10-7, and Yuan Sijun, who's a very dangerous young player from China, 10-6. And then the win over Carter was impressive, just how he did it. A couple of centuries, 5 half centuries, won some crunch frames along the way. So I'm sure he's feeling confident coming in today and feeling happy enough to be 2-1 up without any real fireworks yet.
Thank you. Try to take your seats, please, and as quickly as possible, take your seats. Because we haven't played, may I ask you to settle down, please? The 4th frame. Shaun Murphy, the break.
Marcel Eckardt just asking for a bit of hush on the other side. They've gone to the interval. Shaun Murphy plays the break-off shot in this 4th frame, the last before the first interval in this second round match against Stephen Maguire.
Again, it's a good break-off from Shaun. There are possible reds available for Stephen Maguire, but certainly no easy path back to bulk, so maybe he's taking this red on. But that red next to the black could easily be left here. Oh, wonderful pot. Wonderful pot. Needs that cue ball to slow down. Well, the black is cuttable. It is pottable. It's tricky. The cue ball will be cannoning into the red next to it, so no guarantee of position, but after such a great red, you've got to be taking this on. Hendon too has finished in a possible position near that left centre, so Stephen will be quite happy with that result.
Nine.
Steve Maguire, the winner of 6 world ranking titles. The most recent was the Tour Championship 2020. He was actually a late call-up for that. Ding, because it was COVID times. Ding was in China. He was the next on the list and came in and won it.
15.
But of course, since then, he's lost his top 16 position. He's found it difficult, I think, to adjust to playing sort of below the radar snooker. But this is anything but, of course, here.
I find it interesting, Dave. You mentioned it, that
22.
John Higgins, Steve Maguire and Anthony McGill all share a unit up in Glasgow that they rent and maintain the table and everything. They all practice together assiduously, and they try and play best of nines, etc. with each other, and they take it very seriously. But all three of those players, as I speak, have been tinkering with their cues and chopped and changed from one to another. Even John Higgins comes to the World Championships with a cue he's had for barely a fortnight.
You wonder if they've sort of, if it's rubbed off on each other. One's done it and the others have looked at that. Meantime, this cue ball, as you can see, has finished close to the side cushion, so good cueing needed here to continue. And that will disappoint him.
Stephen Maguire. 20.
Just as things were starting to look good for him, actually, in this match. Just left himself under it with that one.
Powered the cue ball through, trying to knock that pink onto the centre pocket. It may just cut in, but it's very, very thin. It's not the sort of cutback that Shaun was hoping it would be, that's for certain.
Blue ball.
In fact, he's attempting the blue instead. He's under pressure to knock this in. He's 2 on behind and still 20 odd behind. Well done.
Six. Seven.
Well, that's a good camera shot of the perspective view that Shaun has of the angle that he has on the pink. It's the wrong side. So having to leave the next red from distance. Now, I just wonder if the pink spot's occupied. It is, so that will help Shaun.
13. $14. $20. $21.
Nice angle on the pink to stun into the reds, but he doesn't want to catch a red 4 ball. And didn't. Well, I've got to say, he's been very unlucky there. I think he caught those reds exactly as he wanted to, and can't believe that he's not on
27.
anything. Suggesting there that he stepped in something, having a look down at his shoes.
It's frustrating to play a good shot and not get the reward you feel you deserve for it. And that's the thing we've seen. The opposite in this game, players butcher shots and fluke one or just get a bit of luck. That's all part of it. It's easy to say it's all part of it, but it's still frustrating. Oh, wow.
28.
Fantastic pot. Could be a bit of unpleasantness coming here for Maguire, maybe.
Oh, well, for me, he's got to play the black here, knock it back down towards this end of the table and get the snooker in behind the yellow. Because to bring the black into play means that if Steve Maguire leaves him in, doesn't get out to the snooker well, he's got a simple frame-winning break. But he's left them tied up. I don't understand that. Maybe he's just happy that the pink's on the black spot and that will do him.
Maguire just having a think about this. I mean, he has been known at times to go with a lot of pace from this sort of situation. Just hope for the best.
Foul and a miss, Shaun Murphy, 4. Yeah. Foul and a miss, Shaun Murphy, 4.
I do think that Steve Maguire's playing the right shot here. What he's trying to do, I think, is to come off the side cushion and just glance the red. Just getting a touch too much right-hand side on the cue ball. So 3 cushions, come off the side cushion there and glance the red. Oh, it's very close. It's a good effort.
Shaun Murphy, 4.
Getting encouragement, but he's trying his best as it is. Danger if he... I mean, he came close there to potentially leaving a pot to middle. If the cue ball had kept running, Murphy might have been interested.
He's had several goes at the escape. For me, it might be worth having 1 or 2 more attempts at it because it's a good shot to play and he got very close previously.
Well, he's looking a different route.
Just that one nicely. 4-ball cannon on the red. Hasn't done much harm at all. There is a double on for Shaun Murphy, but Steve Maguire would be very pleased with this escape.
May I ask you to remain quietly, please?
Wow, that's a stroke of good fortune for Steve Maguire. Just caught the red on the thick side. I beg your pardon, on the thin side. But I did think that cue ball was going to slide past the yellow. I was amazed it dropped in behind it. Let's have a look at this. Too thin on the red. The cue ball rebounding off the ball cushion over 2 feet. It just drops in tight behind that yellow. That could be a frame winner.
Yes, he's got the same headache that Maguire had from this sort of spot. All those reds invitingly placed. There is one on the side cushion, obviously, which Maguire would need as well.
Shaun's looking to see if he can just about avoid the red near the left corner to rest upon the one that's on the top cushion, but for me that's a risk, because if he catches top side of that red near the corner pocket, he'll knock it on. But having said that, what else does he have that he could play here? May have to try a similar shot to the one Steve Maguire did. The problem is, though, there is a red that will pot into the right centre now that wasn't available before.
Foul on the miss, Stephen Maguire. 4. Yep.
Well, the worm has turned here, hasn't it? This was where Maguire was in trouble earlier.
May I just ask you once again to remain quietly, please?
Sometimes it is of critical importance that the balls are replaced exactly to almost to the millimetre of where they were, but on this occasion it makes no difference at all. Marcel Eckardt is obviously convinced that both of these balls were touching, I believe, and he's trying to make sure that they are here.
Would you be okay with that? It's the same shot to me. Yep. I don't get it quite like touching, but it's same touching.
Maguire said, I'm happy. I bet he is. I bet he is sat there.
Following the miss, Stephen Maguire. 4.
Well, I don't think Stephen will be having the cue ball replaced this time. It has a very makeable red to the right centre.
Yeah, he's going to need all the reds, so there's one obvious safe one on the right-hand side, which is going to come into play at some point in this frame.
7.
Very straight on the pink, as you can see. That's not ideal. The pink will now go back onto its own spot once it's potted here.
$13.
Yeah, he's sort of in no man's land a bit here.
He could play this cut back aggressively and try and leave the cue ball behind a bulk colour. He's decided against it because if you try to cut the red in, you don't want to miss it and have the red remain near the pocket somewhere.
Stephen Maguire, 13.
Well, in a way, all the frames have kind of followed the same pattern. There's been chances on both sides, players just going wrong here and there, missing one or losing position. A little bit of head shaking going on as well. And some terrific potting also. And with one pot there, Murphy sort of wrests back control of the frame. But of course, he's going to need the difficult red as well on the side cushion. Going on the attack here, no more rolling up to colours. And again, it's not really worked out positionally.
This is what I'm saying about Shaun. If you leave him a sniff at any pot, he'll take it on, and he's such a great potter from distance. But played the aggressive brown to the centre there, but hasn't got on the red. It will still cut in, but it's as missable as it is potable. Well, he's never taken this on, surely. Well, that was such a risky shot to take on, but he was very, very close to it.
5.
And maybe the reason he did take it on, as Dave has already said, both players will need that awkward red, and it's not going to be easy to get onto or remove.
One.
Well, pattern's continuing.
Stephen Maguire.
Just
1.
mistakes, and although it's early in the match, tension has also come to bear. Points level. It was tough.
Yeah, incredibly, from that awkward position there, Shaun was actually trying to remove that difficult red off the side cushion. I don't think the red will pass the pink, so this is an intriguing little section of play here. We're about to witness important safety exchange. It's an important frame, of course, because if Steve Maguire can win it, having lost the first frame, he'll have won the next 3 and go into an interval with a 3-1 lead. And that will certainly help his cause. Cue ball in behind the black. Shaun Murphy snookered.
Yeah, I think he felt the sort of cue ball slightly sort of curled in towards the black there. I don't know, but anyway, won't be smiling for long, I suspect, here.
That's not what Shaun was hoping to see. Half-ball cannon on the red to leave it potable for Stephen Maguire, but it's certainly a tricky pot. And that angle gives you a better idea of the difficulty involved. But of course, nothing to do with the cue ball with that pink over the other corner. Yes, well done. But this is the key shot coming up. You'll probably try to screw him behind the red rather than remove it here.
Seven.
That was a good effort, but I don't think Stephen will fancy having a go at this. Well, I wouldn't want to, I can assure you.
Stephen Maguire. 7.
Shaun would like to come in behind this red and kick it back up the table towards the bulk colours of 2 cushions. That's what he's managed. Oh, he's played this well. If he's left a gap there, he's unlucky. But at first glance, Steve Maguire does look to be snookered.
Well, it's some frame, isn't it, this? I mean, it's obviously early on in the match yet, but even so, both trying so hard in what's been error-strewn, I suppose, but still interesting and exciting.
If he can manage to cannon into the red off 2 cushions, the cue ball will probably go full ball into the green and yellow, which would be a good thing. Wow. Oh, where's the cue ball going? Oh, that's unfortunate. Now, where's the red going? Right
Shaun
into
Murphy,
bulk.
4.
Oh, that's very unfortunate from Steve Maguire's point of view, and it probably will cost him the frame now, although the green is awkward.
Well, yeah, I mean, bearing in mind he's hit the red, that could not have finished worse. Just a couple of kisses, and then the red, you could see it coming all the way back. And he's on for Murphy.
One. Four. Six.
Well, there's been a lot of chances on both sides. I guess 2-2 feels about right. Maybe not to Maguire right now. A bit unfortunate on that last shot, but a lot had happened before then. Brown and blue needed for Shaun Murphy to equalise.
13.
What we're seeing is 2 players not backing away from shots, but equally just making a few errors early on. All adds to the interest in this match, which is considerable, I think. 2 real big hitters of the sport going head-to-head once again.
24.
And at the first interval, they're all square. Shaun Murphy delighted to get that chance on the last red, and he's put it away to level the match at 2-2.
May I ask you to take a seat, please?
Well, all smiles as they come back into the arena. But let's see how long that lasts. It's 2-2.
Fifth frame, Steve Maguire.
Between Shaun Murphy and Steve Maguire. Murphy stole that last frame when Maguire was a bit unlucky. He was snookered, he hit the red, but went in off, left the red on. But 2-2 seems about right from what we've seen. It's not been the highest quality yet, but that can change, of course. We've got another 4 frames to come here this afternoon. They will return tomorrow.
Yes, both of these players have made 1 half-century break apiece, that's all. Average frame time approaching 22 minutes, so both these players capable of more.
Wow, that's what happened. He dropped his cue. He didn't throw it on the floor like Rob Milkins deliberately. He just dropped it.
Wow, do you know, as well, dropping it there, that could easily damage your cue.
They always say the steps, you know, if you can get down them, you've done well. Hopefully all is well with the cue.
Well, it was a nicely struck safety shot by Steve Maguire, but this red may be possible for Shaun. He can stun the cue ball around the back of the black. He'll come across the face of the blue towards the bulk colours. Oh, he just didn't kill the pace of the cue ball as much as I think he wanted to. Well, he's got a half a shout at the brown, but it's awkward.
That's been the pattern, really, hasn't it?
Murphy. 1.
Promising starts, not coming to very much. It wasn't easy, but it was a chance to get going. Highest break was the 56 that Murphy made in frame 1, but that was after a few chances on either side. Maguire's had a 50. Pot success for both, though, in the 80s at the moment.
One. Stephen Maguire. 1.
The head-to-head in professional matches is 12-11 to Shaun Murphy. First meeting was the British Open back in 2001, but in reality, the first meeting was long before that on the juniors circuit in the UK. Murphy, one of the best from England. Maguire, one of the best from Scotland. They met many times. It's an interesting match. They're just different people. That's all it is. They're not... They have the same interests, don't have the same sort of personalities, but that makes it intriguing, I think. A lot of respect between the two of them as snooker players, that's for sure. And that's because of the history they've had, all the matches that have been contested, close ones down the years.
24 seconds average shot time for Shaun is a little laboured for him. Highest break, just 56 from Shaun, 50 from Steve Maguire. Can either of these players eke out a small advantage come the end of this session, I wonder?
One.
That's a wonderful pot from Steve Maguire. Tight against that side cushion. Had to put his trust in the true running of the cue ball there. He's finished nicely on the black. Will stun into the reds, I'm sure. Decided not to. Just play a delicate cannons. Left him on a choice of at least two. Bottom red of that little group of four. The one above the black will pot into the left corner. And these are the sort of opportunities that when they come along, you expect yourself to score well from and win frames from. And if Steve Maguire can start to do that, he could put a lot of pressure on Shaun Murphy.
Yeah, I just think with this match, if one player makes a sort of frame-winning break, an 80 or something, that will inspire the other to do the same. I think that's what the match will become. At the moment, there's a lot of sort of jostling for position. But they've both gone for the shots, haven't they? A couple of times it's just not quite worked out in terms of position.
15.
But there's been very little backing away from anything.
$16.
Steve Maguire, twice a semi-finalist, 2007, 2012. 2007 was the one where he looked like he would get to the final. He was 14-10 up going into the last session against John Higgins, but Higgins turned it round to win 17-15. So he was denied a crack at Mark Selby. Who knows what would have happened there? Selby was just sort of starting out there, wasn't he? He was a qualifier, actually, that year.
24.
Ali Carter beat him, of course. That was the man that Maguire beat in round one this year.
Just this cannon nicely. Caught that red pretty much exactly how he wanted to. And once he pots this red here, the red just
32.
below and to the right of the pink becomes available into the same pocket. And that red that's almost touching the pink will certainly pot into the left centre. So this is a very good chance for Steve Maguire to maybe win the frame at this visit.
$39.
I'm not sure anybody was sure that was going to drop, because we've seen a few stay out. There's a lot of jaw involved here.
$46. $47.
Well, this black will be for his highest break, but wants to press on now and nail the frame. Got a couple of red safe that are in his favour with the lead he's got.
54.
Yeah, I mean, this was beautiful cueing, wasn't it? Sea of faces watching on here at the Crucible, of course. You went out and warmed a few up, Dominic, before your last session. Just said hello to a few people.
I did, yes. I met a Viennese lady at the hotel, and our MC, Rob Walker, always warms the audience up before, you know, and he'll ask them if there's anybody here from Europe or anybody travelled a long way, and you put your hand up, and if you get chosen by him, you might receive a voucher for a bottle of wine or something. And I spoke to this lady from Vienna, because I used to live in Vienna. And yeah, she said, he always picks somebody else, he never picks me. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make one behind. And when Rob addresses the audience before we go out to play, I said, I'll come out and make sure you get a mention. And yeah, that's what happened. And I think Rob Walker, MC, was rather taken aback. He'd never encountered any player doing such a thing before they go out to play before. You wouldn't do it if you were 5-4 behind or 6-3 or whatever, when the match is still very much in the balance. But I was 8-1 down, it didn't really matter.
Well, Shaun Murphy is about to go 3-2 down, it would seem. 68 behind with 59 on.
68.
And he's seen enough. So, yeah, that was a bit more like it, I guess, in terms of getting in, killing it off. 68 from Steve Maguire. He's back in front at 3-2. Yes, Rob Walker, he does a great job. I mean, it's so many sessions that you've got to introduce the players. But, of course, for the audience, it might be their only session that day that they're going to be there the whole year, so they want to feel special. And, well, it is special, isn't it? Just look at the scenes here. Another packed afternoon. And, of course, if one match does finish early, they bring that wall up so you can enjoy the other match from the other side of the arena. A week... well, it's actually a week yesterday, isn't it? We'll go to the one table, the semi-finals, and then it becomes... feels like a different venue. More room, you're not having to sit next to your opponent. But in terms of frames, you're actually only halfway towards winning the title. There's a long way to go yet in this tournament. I've heard people talking about, you know, it's going to be a procession for Ronnie O'Sullivan and all this stuff. A long way to go yet. A lot of frames still to be played before we find out who he...
Yes, absolutely. High these days, the strength in depth is so great, but I mean, Judd Trump's still there and he looks to be in fine fettle, as do a few of the others. I was impressed certainly with Kyron's performance against me, made frame after frame of frame winning breaks, and there'll be a few players that could test Ronnie O'Sullivan, certainly.
Thank you. Frame 6, Shaun Murphy to break.
So Maguire has his nose in front here, 3-2. There's never been more than a frame between the two of them, but there's still 3 to play this afternoon. And, of course, we know that the winner is very likely to play Dave Gilbert. He's 12-4 up on Robert Milkins, so needs one more tonight when they come back. So it's looking like... well, they call him the angry farmer, but it'd be pretty chipper right now, Dave, I would imagine. He played well. Milkins struggled. And he's surely going to be the first man into the quarterfinals tonight. Now then, Maguire potted a great red to start that 68 break in the last frame. Not quite. You could see Murphy peeping round there, keeping an eye on it. Not quite this time.
Well, it's difficult to know whether Stephen attempted the pot there or just played the safety, but now that that red's found its way into bolt, this throws an entirely different light on this frame, because both players now will have to play safety shots behind the black spot, as Shaun has done there. And the key in this sort of scenario is to try and get that cue ball as tight as possible to the top cushion, as Shaun's done just there, because Steve Maguire can't raise the butt of the cue in the air now and return the cue ball to a similar position. So that was beautifully executed from Shaun.
One.
Oh, what a pot that is. Tight on this top cushion. And he hasn't just rolled this red in, he's played it at pace. I mean, that is an exceptional pot from Steve Maguire. And he's beautifully on the blue. What a shot.
Six. Seven.
Yeah, a lot of noise there from the other table. Judd Trump doing his thing as Maguire attempts to make a bit of a move here of his own. Yeah, just trying to chip the red into a potable position.
12.
Well, just refusing to let the break go. Cross doubles it.
And the reason he took this cross double on for me is all because of that sensational opening red to get in with. It would have just been a travesty had the break just ended at 12 from such a great pot. And what a cross double that was. Now he has choices here. The red above the black is on, but he could play the yellow and go into them. Oh, well, it was such a big target to go into the reds from the yellow. Stephen would be bitterly disappointed to have overscrewed the cue ball and missed them all together. There's a half chance of a double here. You could see the disappointment in Stephen. He won't be far away with this. It's close, it's close, it's in.
16.
My goodness, what a break this has been.
Doubles all round. It's like the World Darts Championship. Yeah, second one of the break to keep it going.
23.
As he attempts to make his move this afternoon, get some pressure on Murphy by threatening to pull away.
Well, he has a lovely angle on the black now to go into the reds, and they should spread rather nicely because, as you can see, they're not tightly bunched together. There are gaps and spaces between them, but he's just having a look at the two reds directly above the black to see if they're a plant to the green pocket. And that could dictate the pace at which he plays his cannon. Well, you can see they're very closely set, but I don't think he'll play for the plant. So just took a bit of pace off. And if he's on a red to the right centre, he's fine. But if it doesn't go...
31.
I can't really see a suitable alternative. Well, it doesn't go. He'd be downplaying it by now. That's very unfortunate. Can play a very good safety, though. But with that 31 points lead, Stephen would probably like a red safe somewhere or a colour safe, but at the moment they're all in open play.
Stephen Maguire, 31.
Kept a lid on things there, didn't he? You know, he would have been frustrated not to be on one, but there was no sort of volcanic reaction to it. Because he's playing well in general. He's played a good fifth frame there. That's 68 break to go 3-2. And sensing a chance this afternoon if he can keep Murphy out.
Shaun is such an attacking player, but it's the hardest part of the game to produce well consistently, potting good long balls as Shaun so often does. But if you can put pressure on Shaun, for instance, if Steve Maguire were to take a 4-2 lead here, Shaun would be under pressure, and all of a sudden he may start to miss some of these long reds that he knocks in so consistently. I think Shaun's made a mistake there. There's a red that will cut into the left centre for Steve Maguire, and as long as the cue ball doesn't cannon into another red, he could come down for the black very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, we're still early in the match, but every frame is going to matter, and it's all about just trying to gain an advantage, get some sort of overnight lead. It's one match divided into 3 sessions, each divided into 2 mini-sessions. If you can try and win them all, or certainly not lose them, you're going to win the match. Yeah, it's a dangerous and therefore an inviting table for whoever can get in. Those reds, all potable. Maguire in front by 31. It might not mean much if Murphy could get in.
Shaun Murphy's average shot time is 25 seconds a shot. That's very slow for Shaun. He's being made to think a lot, as he is being made to think here. He's having to ponder the safety shot, or whether to take on a very risky and difficult pot, because the safety shot itself is intrinsically very tricky. So there's a lot of thinking in between shots, and that does disrupt the rhythm of Shaun Murphy. Steve Maguire playing a very canny session here. But Shaun did take the red on. He felt he had to, and what a pot that was. Yeah, toughen the table from Steve Maguire. That was excellent from Shaun Murphy. There was a lot of pressure on this.
Yeah, and there's that respect I mentioned, you know, as snooker players, Maguire saying, yeah, that was good. There's no denying it. So Murphy's forced his way in, and as I say, it's an inviting table. Let's just see Maguire make a frame-winning break in the last. Let's see if he can do the same here.
Free.
He's just finished in a little bit of an awkward spot. The red cuts to the left centre, and it will give Shaun a chance to play down for the black, but he's got to adjust the pace well.
4.
Drops the red in, and he's a little straight on the black, but Shaun has a lot of ability to screw the cue ball back with effortless ease, as he's done there, and he's okay. So 20 points behind still. He'll need that awkward red
11.
in all likelihood, near that right side cushion. So work to do. Just holding the cue ball on the pink spot, so that now has to go up on the blue spot, the next highest available. It's a big frame this. Shaun has had to win the 4th frame to draw level at the interval. And he finds himself again behind here, trying to stave off Steve Maguire and prevent him from taking a 2-frame lead.
$26. 27.
Not the best positional shot there. Had to force the black in.
34. 35.
Again, wriggled in. Seen a few like this in this pocket.
42. $43.
Oh, needs his cue ball to stop very quickly. Oh, it just has. He'd have been on the other red anyway, to the left centre. But he will need that tricky red, and I'm sure Shaun will try and remove it from the green. That would be the ideal ball to be on, to develop that tricky red.
$51. 53.
Well, this is the angle that Shaun was looking for. Big shot coming up.
$57.
Well, we're here at a vital stage in the 6th frame, if you're joining us from the other match, because Shaun Murphy is 3-2 down to Stephen Maguire, who's attempting to win this frame and level up. Just move this red that was in a safe position, but this frame's still in the balance. It's been an interesting match. It's quite error-strewn before the interval, really, but Maguire and Murphy have both looked confident. They've gone for their shots. Maguire made 68 in the last frame. Murphy here on a break of 57 in this one.
Shaun Murphy, 57.
A long-standing rivalry that goes back to their junior days. It's 12-11 on the head-to-head to Murphy. The last meeting was here in round 1 2 years ago. Maguire won that one 10-8. Of course, he's come through the qualifiers. He's already beaten Ali Carter. Shaun Murphy defeated Lou Hirsham pretty comfortably in round 1. The blue is in a favourable position for Murphy. He's 26 in front. He just needs red in colour. So that's one ball he can't afford to move.
Well, Shaun didn't play the best safety there. He needs that red to slow down. Well, it's certainly possible. The question you have to ask yourself as a player, is the safety shot more difficult or as difficult as the pot? And if the answer is yes, then you're better off taking the pot on, and I think Stephen may do so here. This is a very tricky red that Shaun is considering here, but he could snooker the red with the yellow and the brown if it doesn't go in. Decided instead to play the cue ball in behind the black, but Steve Maguire will be delighted that the blue's been removed into a potable position. But Shaun has played a great cue ball there. Wow, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Severely snookered Steve Maguire, and this isn't going to be easy at all to escape from. Can't get around the back of the black, I don't think. Well played, but needs some luck. And I don't think he's going to get any. He's left it.
Yeah, he was a little unlucky actually in frame 4, wasn't he? He was snookered then on the last red and went in off, and the red travelled all the way back into bulk and left it on for Murphy, who now needs 2 pots for 3-3. It's been an eventful match, this, without being the highest standard necessarily. It doesn't have to be, of course, to be exciting. Two snookers needed.
6. Shaun Murphy, 6.
Yes, he played that really well. So he's got Maguire in a snooker. It's Maguire who needs the 2. Otherwise, it's level at 3 each.
Foul.
And that surely is going to be that.
4.
He lays his cue on the table. So these two can't be separated. There's been no more than a frame between them so far. And that pattern continues with 2 to play this afternoon. They're level at 3-3. The winner will play, very likely, Dave Gilbert. He's 12-4 up on Robert Milkins. That match concludes tonight. Of course, Gilbert needing one more to be the first man into the quarterfinals. This is the half that includes, of course, Joe O'Connor, the debutant, against Karen Wilson, and also a real heavyweight clash between Mark Allen and John Higgins. They've met a few times already this season, and that is going to take some sorting out as well. Well, Murphy just happy to be keeping pace here, and whatever happens now, with 2 frames left, it's going to be close coming back for session 2, but can either one of them just eke out an advantage at 5-3? We will find out in due course. Shaun Murphy, the 2005 world champion, and he's been runner-up 3 times since then against Stephen Maguire, a twice semi-finalist here at the Crucible, but hasn't been at the one table since 2012. And we're just waiting for Stephen to come. Well, in fact, he has come back, and the wall's come up as well, because the other match session has finished. So they have the Crucible to themselves for the last 2 frames.
Thank you. Settle down, please. T7 frame, Stephen Maguire to break.
Always looked likely to be one of the most competitive second round matches, and that is how it's bearing out so far.
Yeah, so the 2 players that look like sneaking into a useful lead at the end of this session, it's been Stephen Maguire. Twice he's had a 1-frame advantage, twice he's had chances to convert it into a 2-frame advantage, but he's been ped back on both occasions by Shaun Murphy. Shaun Murphy, such a capable break builder, such a prolific break builder, but he's been stifled somewhat by the safety play of Steve Maguire during the course of this match, and Shaun Murphy has made just breaks of 56 and 57. Steve Maguire there in shot breaks of 50 and 68 from him. There's been a lot more tactical play and safety play generally between these 2 players than I was expecting to see.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the respect they have for one another as snooker players, all those meetings down the years, from the junior days through the professional ranks. Yet another one here at the home of snooker, at the Crucible. And I think also, you know, let's be honest, they must be feeling they've got a definite chance, whoever wins this match. Dave Gilbert will be a tough opponent for sure, but they would fancy their chances maybe getting to the one table again. Luca Marcel obviously was the seed, the #1 seed in this little section, but Dave beat him on Saturday.
Very good safety from Steve Maguire, but I don't think that he expects Murphy to give up an opportunity from it. But he'll need to be careful. That red just next to the pink will pot if Shaun isn't careful with the placement of the cue ball here.
On the left there, that's Robbie Murphy, isn't it? He's Shaun's good friend, a player himself, an amateur player, but travels with Shaun. No relation, I don't believe, but anyway, he's watching on, knows the game inside out.
Yes, Robert Murphy on the left there. Very good amateur player. I played him once in a big pro-am in Killarney many years ago. Around about 2005 or 6, I think it was. As you say, Dave, he certainly does know the game inside out. He's a tall lad. He's about 6'5".
Yeah, I mean, it's an individual sport. It's not like tennis where they come with a sort of entourage. Some people don't have anyone with them, but quite often you'll just bring a friend with you, to someone to spend time with. Obviously, if they know the game, that helps. Judd Trump comes with his brother, doesn't he, Jack, who helps him out and keeps him sort of on the straight and narrow, all the rest of it. Other people like to have more people around them. John Higgins had a lot of his family here last night. It's just a personal choice, really. Stephen Hendry in the 90s used to say to his wife, "Come down for the final." That's confidence. And, of course, most years she did, because he was in the final.
Well, yes, Stephen Hendry won 5 consecutive World Championships. Incredible feat.
Yeah, Maguire, of course, as a teenager, got the chance to practice with him. But if he played Hendry at his peak and left a red like that on, he'd be concerned. And I think the concern is also there playing Shaun Murphy.
I don't suspect the pot to be a problem for Shaun, but positionally, he's going to have to be a little careful here. Not to cannon into the pink and the red. Well, in the end, didn't feel he could avoid cannoning of the ball, so just trusted to luck. And as you can see, it certainly hasn't worked out for Shaun on this occasion.
Pink ball. Shaun Murphy 1.
Like that card game, Chase the Ace. Thought for a moment the cube would pop the pink, which I don't think would have pleased Shaun, but it's okay. Look at the position of the reds and just look at that incredible auditorium. It's an amazing atmosphere playing there. And you can see the proximity of the right-hand side partition there to the table. It's very confined.
Foul. Steve Maguire 4.
Well, much better, the cue ball finding the pocket than rebounding from the jaws in and around the reds. I don't think there's a pot worth risking here for Steve Maguire, but he certainly has an opportunity to try to get the cue ball in behind the pink, around off 3 cushions. And because because of that, you certainly wouldn't put Shaun back into bat here.
Never in doubt. He's created a problem for his opponent here. Nasty cueing from the pocket. So Maguire is in the 7th frame. Made his highest break of the match in frame 5, 68.
Stephen would love to have that black back onto its spot, but as you can see, it's surrounded by reds, so it may well have to remain there. But he's looking to see if he can get position on the pink here, because if the pink were to be on its spot, that would be an open play and be readily available, as you can see. So it must be worth a risk, I feel.
Seven.
Is Stephen considering playing a cannon into the black here just to try to make it available? No, he did look at it though briefly.
12. Thirteen.
Definitely a big occasion player. He has struggled this season with some of the qualifying venues and just the sort of soulless atmosphere you get there. And the knock-on effect of that is we haven't seen him as often in the main venues. A couple of quarter-finals, his best runs at the International Championship and the Northern Ireland Open. But this is the place, if you're going to produce the goods, where your whole season can turn around.
$20.
Well, he knew straight away that white was racing and racing.
Yes, I don't think Stephen expected it to come off that top cushion so quickly.
Green ball.
He's in the box seats here, 23-point lead, and
Stephen Maguire, 20.
now that he's snookered Shaun on all reds, yes, he just didn't expect that cue ball to rebound so quickly off that top cushion. Expected a different type of reaction from it. But Shaun is in a spot of difficulty here. If he could rest just behind the two reds on the left-hand side cushion, he'd probably be okay, but how does he get there? It won't be easy. The blue is possibly in his way. And all of these reds, as you can see, are grouped together. He'll do well not to leave a pot on here, Shaun. Well, that was a terrific shot from Shaun Murphy, having to swerve around the green and kill the pace of the cue ball. And there's a lot of side spin on this cue ball as well. All had to be judged. And it really was to perfection.
You're right, though. It's turned into a sort of more tactical match than I think anyone was anticipating. But, of course, they've got all the experience in the world to play that game if they have to. Both so wary of not letting the other in.
Wow, are the two reds next to the pink a plant? If they are, Shaun's been very unfortunate. Well, they can certainly be made. The problem is, from Steve Maguire's point of view, if he does make the plant, where does the cue ball end up?
Well, the answer was anywhere, wasn't it? But it's bulldozed its way through all the reds. And it's not bad. And Murphy, yeah, I can't believe that that plant was left. Look at the white here. Just elbowing its way through everything.
I don't know which red Stephen played for there. The one to the left of the blue would have been ideal, but did he overscrew it? This is a little awkward now for Steve Maguire. The easiest pot is probably the one to the right corner, but the cue ball is running away from the colours, and this is now a tricky little pot he's taking on.
Seven.
Well, yeah, there were people, I mean, from that angle, it didn't look like he was going to go in, did it? But Stephen's saying, what are you talking about? Of course it was in.
Well, here's the key shot coming up for Steve Maguire. If he can knock the pink in, just run through for the red in the corner pocket, he'll be in prime position to once again take a one-frame advantage.
19.
He's never been behind in this match except when he lost the first frame. He's been in the box seat ever since, but just can't get that two-frame advantage.
No, I mean, I think on balance he's been slightly the better of the two. So if he did end up 5-3, that I think would be fair enough. Got to get to 4-3 first.
$26. 27.
So just looking for pink or black and one more red and high value colour to make the frame safe. And once again, going to a one frame lead.
That could not have finished much better, could it?
$34.
A couple of things went against him earlier on. A couple of things have gone for him since. That's the nature of the game. He wants the extra red in because Shaun Murphy is unlikely to come back if he pots it.
$41.
So 4-3 Maguire with one to play.
$44. $44 in the frame.
Yeah, another good contribution from Steve Maguire. So one left to play this afternoon. He leads Shaun Murphy 4-3. Well, a lot of meetings between these two, a lot of history between them. This is the head-to-head 12-11 in terms of wins for Murphy. It was Maguire who won the most recent here at the Crucible. It was in 2 years ago, 2022. Surprisingly, that's actually their only meeting at the Crucible. But there are all the stats: 22 appearances for Murphy, 20 for Maguire. Of course, in terms of ranking titles, Murphy out in front on 12, Maguire on 6, and to current ranking, Shaun Murphy at number 8, Maguire at 28. But these numbers, interesting though they are, really it's a dynamic between them that's the most interesting. They're different sort of people, both great players. Who is going to come through? It's a long way before we find out, but Maguire hoping to hold the edge overnight before they resume for session 2 here tomorrow. England v Scotland, Shaun Murphy v Steve Maguire, and it is Glasgow's Steve Maguire holding the narrow edge here, 4-3. Just getting a bit hot under the collar there in the heat of the Crucible. Of course, he doesn't wear a bow tie. That's a long-standing thing. He has a medical note. As we wait for Murphy, who's, I'm sure, looking to end the day, firstly by winning the frame, that's obvious, but if he can put together a good performance in this frame, because from him it's been a little stop-start. It's not been maybe the highest standard yet. That can come later on, of course. Murphy down at 87% on the pot success. Maguire pretty solid at 90. Murphy's highest break 57. He's had just 2 half centuries. Of course, the wall is up here, and lots of people, almost everyone, has stayed behind from the Judd Trump Tom Ford session to enjoy the rest of this one. The winner is surely going to play David Gilbert. He's 12-4 up, of course, on Rob Milkins. That concludes tonight, with Gilbert needing 1 frame to become the first player into the quarterfinals. The other match will be Jack Jones, Sijal Wee. Jack Jones won 4 black ball frames this morning to lead 6-2. Sijal Wee looked pretty crestfallen, it's got to be said at the end of it, as the last one was stolen from him, but he contributed to that, wasn't killing frames off. Of course, 2 stars of last year's World Championship. We'll be watching that one later. As Shaun Murphy returns for the last frame of the afternoon.
Thank you, settle down please. The 8th and final frame of the session. Shaun Murphy.
So a hush descends once again inside the Crucible Theatre here in Sheffield as Shaun Murphy breaks off in the 8th and final frame of the day. He's 4-3 down, just trying to get level for when they come back tomorrow.
Stephen, as you can see, can attempt this red into the left corner, but the red that's next to the black may be potable, so you need to be careful here. Oh, that little double kiss. Don't know if that's been of benefit or not, because this red that's next to the black will cut in for Shaun. But if he does take it on, the cue ball will be running into the pack of reds, so he'll have to play it full-bloodedly. And this is the third time now in a row that he's been a frame behind. And this is the remaining frame of the session. And Shaun certainly doesn't want to fall 5-3 behind and face a 2-frame deficit going into their second session tomorrow. The second round encounters played over the best of 25 frames, 3 sessions of 8 frames and 9. So it's a long way to go, isn't that?
Well, Joe Johnson would say here he knows the game backwards. It's finished nicely, hasn't it, for Maguire?
I think it's one of these sessions, Dave, that Shaun will reflect on. I think it's gone exactly the way Steve Maguire wanted it to. He's forced Shaun to play a lot of tactical play, which he doesn't normally like. And I think upon the conclusion of this session, Shaun will reflect on that and think, right, I need to attack more, and try and impose my style of play on Steve Maguire.
Well, we kind of saw that, didn't we? The last final he was in against Mark Selby. I mean, Selby was always going to play his game, and Murphy was unable at times to play his. Well, that's his game, going for long ones. He didn't get it, though. I remember Ronnie in the studio that night after that final saying, if Selby puts a ball on a cushion, you've got to take one off. It was one of those, you've got to like open the game up, play to your strengths. Trying to do that there, but the red didn't go in.
Shaun was more intent on playing the cue ball back towards the bulk cushion there. He'll be very pleased that the red rebounded from the jaws to an area of safety, but Steve Maguire could play an aggressive safety here, just bring a few reds into play, get a good cue ball, but he's keeping things tight, choosing to avoid the pack of reds. But we may see Shaun Murphy bring a few into play here with his safety, try and take Steve Maguire out of his comfort zone. Stephen trying to cut a red into the right corner here. Good effort. Well, he's got away with it. But if I were Stephen, I'd definitely look to bring a few reds into play here, get the cubel on the bulk cushion behind the yellow. And that's what he's chosen to do, but could have played it better. Good cue ball, but Shaun can see the left-hand side of the pack of reds.
Well, now, suddenly a chance presents itself to Murphy. Red has travelled to bulk.
One.
A face like absolute thunder there, isn't he, Maguire, watching on. Let's see, though, how far Murphy gets here. This is why. All sorts of kisses.
Eight. Nine.
Well, that's not the best positional shot from Shaun. He's very straight on this black, so he has a little bit of work to do with the cue ball now. Played that well.
16.
Well, if you could end the afternoon having played a frame more sort of in keeping with how he likes to play, then that's a successful conclusion. And we just start again tomorrow. Tomorrow morning it'll be all square. That's what he's hoping for, to leave on a high with a nice break here.
24.
Oh, I think he's left himself too low on this red to force through the pack of reds for the black. He may have to screw off them now.
25.
Very lucky if he's on the blue. If it goes, I don't expect to see him miss it.
But he has. So that could be a big moment, not just this afternoon, but in the whole match. Because this is a good chance now for Maguire. That was unexpected.
Very unexpected. Played it, though, with so much pace. Wow, look at these reds now from Steve Maguire's point of view. Once he gets position on the black, he may finally be able to get that 2-frame lead.
See there, pot success for Murphy, 6% down on where he was in round 1. Different sort of match this, though. He played Lou Hyschen in round 1, but there's a dynamic here, there's experience here. And the pressure grows and grows at the Crucible, of course.
Five.
Absolute silence as well, isn't there, from this audience, engrossed in what they're watching.
It's been an intriguing session, really, of 8 frames, this, because Steve Maguire all afternoon has been trying to keep Shaun Murphy out, tie him up, make it difficult, take him out of his comfort zone. It reminds me a little bit of when the great Stephen Hendry came along and Steve Davis tried to do the same to him. But I think this has been a good session from Steve Maguire, and he deserves a lead, I feel.
Yeah, I think he's played the better of the two, but what a chance Murphy had there to, as I say, end with a nice break to level up. It's such a long match that a 5-3 deficit, of course, is not by any means a crisis, but even so, he's going to have to play better tomorrow, you feel, Murphy.
29.
You know, we saw Robert Milkin struggle yesterday, didn't we? He got out 5-3 down to Gilbert, but he only won 1 more frame today in their second session.
No problem.
Beginning to run out of easily potable reds now, Steve Maguire. So he's going to have to just begin to think about trying to develop some of these awkward balls. See Marcel Eckardt's name there, engraved on the ball marker.
Yeah, I think the date refers to when he sort of passed his first referee's exam.
$37.
This Crucible marathon is one long exam, isn't it, for the players? Mental test as much as a test of skill.
Well, did Stephen intend to play for the red into the right centre there and overscrewed it? Because this red that he's about to attempt into this right corner with the rest is a lot more missable than it looks. I think he'll need all but one of these remaining reds to make the frame safe here. Steve Maguire, so still a lot of work ahead of him. Wow, if he's on a red to the left corner, that's a real bonus. It's beautifully played.
50. 51.
Well, he's been missing in action a bit, hasn't he, Maguire, last year, but in the bright lights of the Crucible Theatre, he's coming alive again. Missed out last year, didn't qualify.
58.
First time in 20 years, but we saw how well he played against Ali Carter as he attempts to close this out now. He's going to need 2 of the 3 reds to do that.
59.
Murphy had the chance, didn't he? Missed the blue to the yellow pocket.
Oh, well, look at that. Absolutely dead straight on the pink. Oh, that's just exactly where Steedman didn't want to be. So he can't play for the red near the right side cushion. Can't screw in behind the red near the centre pocket. It may drop in, but he can't leave himself right behind it. Forcing an angle instead. Oh, he's played this well. He's played this very well. But this red is still tricky. But it's frame ball for a 5-3 lead.
Yeah, it's all come down this afternoon to this one shot now. Steely effort this from Stephen Maguire. I think he has played overall the better of the two. Shaun Murphy is still in touch, but had the chance for 4-4. So a meeting of old rivals from the junior days through the pro ranks. There's been various controversies and things said, but ultimately they respect each other hugely as snooker players. And this is the first of 3 sessions between them. And it's been won, you would think, by Stephen Maguire. He's 47 in front with 35 on. Murphy needs to keep the red on the table here to have any chance. But that is the highest break of the afternoon. That's 72.
Well, these colours are placed very nicely from Shaun's point of view to try and get the snookers that he needs, but as Dave says, he wants to keep this red on the table to try to create a free ball situation. Look at this for a shot. He wants that red to keep travelling as close as possible to the green. Now, Steve Maguire will make sure that if he doesn't hit the red, he will not leave a free ball. Good escape. Hedged his bets a little because had he missed that red, he could easily have left a free ball, but Shaun can screw him behind the green here. Get that red somewhere next to the black. He's played it really well. Oh, this is a good shot from Shaun Murphy. Pressure on this now. Look at that. Three snookers needed, but just one with a free ball to tie, potentially. So Steve Maguire's got to formulate a way of escaping from this snooker, or trying to, in such a way that if he doesn't make contact with the red, he can't leave a free ball.
Everyone was holding their breath there in terms of whether he would hit the black, maybe leave a free ball, but he hasn't at least done the second part of that. He's not hit it, but it's now 43 and at 35 on. This is a rather dramatic end to the day. The referee, Marcel Eckardt, right there, of course.
Stephen trying to cannon into the black there to knock it off its spot to make life more difficult for Shaun Murphy, but he missed the cannon, as you can see. But it hasn't finished too badly. It won't be too easy here for Shaun to get the snooker that he needs. In fact, he still needs 2 of them to tie.
Well, he's given it a real good go here.
I think I'd like to play the swerve shot here. He doesn't need to swerve into the red, but come off the baulk cushion. Played it very well. Nearly got a snooker himself. But can Shaun stun the cue ball in behind the brown here, I wonder? Can he see enough of the red?
Well, he just sort of lost control of the exchange with that last shot. Giving Maguire a chance to pot it or leave it over the pocket.
Shaun's considering swerving around the pink to come off this top cushion and glance the red to take the cue ball back into baulk towards the brown and the blue and the yellow, but I mean, he's got to get this safe fundamentally. Oh wow, what a shot, but where's the red going to finish? His cue ball needs to keep running. It needs to keep going. Oh, he's left the red. Great try.
Yeah, it was. But if Maguire can knock this in, then that ends the afternoon's entertainment.
One.
You just feel there's a lot left in this yet. This is only session 1. It's been hard fought. I think Maguire is worth his 2-frame lead. But a lot of frames are left to enjoy between these two. Still a possible 17 to come.
Steve Maguire won.
So it is Steve Maguire who has a 2-frame lead at the end of the opening session. It was hard-fought stuff, I'm sure it will be again, but he's got that small cushion overnight as he attempts to reach the quarter-finals once again. He leads Shaun Murphy here in Sheffield by 5 frames to 3.